It begins with silence, not the kind you hear between breaths, but the kind that's woven into the fabric of space itself. Out here, there is no air to carry sound, only light traveling endlessly, whispering in colors we cannot see. And in this quiet ocean of nothingness, two small fires burn. They have been glowing for billions of years, orbiting one another like ancient lovers too shy to touch. Each one a sun, vast, furious, alive, yet bound by a single thread, gravity. If you could drift here now, among the drifting dust and frozen light, you would see them circling. Two stars, two hearts, two stories written in hydrogen and time. At first, the dance looks peaceful. One star glides, the other responds. A slow waltz through eternity. But look closer, and you'll notice something else. A tension beneath the grace. A pull that is both gentle and inevitable. Because every orbit is also a countdown. Every revolution, a step closer. And someday, whether in 10 million years or a billion, these two suns will meet. When they do, their love story will end in fire. And from that destruction, the universe will write something new. Tonight, we'll drift there, to the edge of that collision, not to fear it, but to understand it. Because when two stars collide, they don't just destroy each other, they reshape the cosmos and everything that will ever be born within it. So close your eyes, let go of Earth. We are going to follow the light all the way to the end. Chapter 1: The Dance of Creation. Before there were two, there was one, a cloud, a vast cold sea of gas and dust, floating in the dark like a forgotten thought. Hydrogen, helium, carbon, drifting silently for eons, until gravity decided to stir the stillness. It began with a whisper, the faintest tug, pulling atoms closer, then another and another. In the great darkness, small ripples become rivers. The rivers became whirlpools, and in the heart of one, the first flicker of light was born, a star. But this story isn't about one night, because sometimes, in that same collapsing cloud, two hearts ignite together, not side by side, but connected by the invisible mathematics of motion. Two centers of gravity locked in a delicate embrace. This is how most stars in the universe live. Binary systems, pairs, not solitary suns like ours, but twin flames, orbiting one another across light years of emptiness. Imagine them, each star circling the same invisible point, what astronomers called the barycenter, a balance so perfect that even chaos looks like choreography. They pull on each other, bend each other's paths, trade heat and light, like dancers sharing breath. To an outside observer, perhaps a being on a planet far, far away, their light would rise and fade rhythmically, one star eclipsing the other, shadows tracing their love across the sky. It would look almost peaceful, almost eternal, but the universe does not do forever. Even the calmest orbits carry a quiet decay. Every rotation, every tug, every flare of energy slowly robs them of stability. Like a pendulum losing strength, they spiral imperceptibly toward each other. Sometimes they never meet, they settle into harmony, keeping their distance for billions of years. Two candles burning side by side. Other times, something changes. One of them grows old first. Its hydrogen, the fuel of all fire, runs out. The balance shifts, and the waltz becomes a fall. Picture this moment. One star begins to swell. Its edges blur. Its atmosphere expands until it becomes a bloated joint. A red sun the size of an orbit itself. Its partner, smaller but denser, begins to pull at its edges. You can almost feel the exchange. Atoms, light, plasma, flowing from one star to another, as though one lover were feeding the other its own life. Astronomers call this mass transfer, but in simpler terms, it's hunger. The smaller star feeds on the larger one, tearing at its surface, strip by strip. And yet, there is beauty even in that violence, because this process can create something new, something astonishing. A white dwarf surrounded by a swirling disk of stolen light. A cosmic storm of matter falling endlessly onto its partner's surface, heating to millions of degrees, releasing X-rays across the galaxy. We see it from Earth as a shimmer, a pulse, a secret. But what we're really witnessing is intimacy. Two suns locked in the most extreme version of connection the universe allows. Sometimes they survive the dance. Sometimes they drift apart again, scared but shining. Other times, the story continues to tighten. The orbit shrinks, the pull intensifies, and eventually, both stars begin to move not around each other, but toward a shared destiny. It's easy to forget, in the comfort of our small blue world, that everything above us is in motion. Nothing in the cosmos ever truly rests. Even stillness is only an illusion of scale. Our sun moves, a galaxy spins, and these two stars, somewhere far away, maybe in the arms of a spiral galaxy, maybe closer than we think, continue their slow spiral inward. What happens next is not sudden, it's a dance of patience. A million years of slow approach, the release of gravitational waves, ripples in spacetime itself, tiny, invisible, but real. If we had the right ears, we could hear them. The song of two stars, frequencies so low they hum beneath reality's surface. Every orbit, every heartbeat, sending out a faint vibration across the cosmos, announcing that something extraordinary is about to happen. We don't know exactly when, maybe tomorrow, maybe long after a species has faded into myth, but the universe is patient. It waits for no one, and yet it never rushes. And as we drift closer to that inevitable collision, remember this. Every ending begins as a rhythm. Every explosion starts as a dance. Because even in death, stars don't fall apart. They fall together. Chapter 2: The Pull of Gravity. You can't see gravity, but you can feel it. It's what keeps you here, feet pressed against earth, breath tethered to air. It's what pulls the moon across the sky, and what folds time itself around the edges of black holes. And out there, in the silent void between stars, gravity isn't just a force, it's a language, a quiet, invisible conversation between things that can never truly touch. The two stars, our cosmic dancers, have been whispering in that language for billions of years. Every movement, every flicker of light is a reply. One tugs, the other reels. One grows brighter, the other bends closer. To us, watching from unimaginable distances, their orbit looks effortless. Two suns circling one another with the grace of eternity. But beneath that calm, they are locked in tension. Each is reshaping the other. When one star's gravity pulls at its partner, it doesn't just distort its surface, it stretches it, ever so slightly, into an oval, like a drop of light being drawn out of shape. They are caught in what physicists call tidal locking, where their faces forever point toward each other, as if unwilling to look away. Imagine that, two beings so bound that even their rotations have synchronized, turning only to see one another. never the dark behind. If you could stand at the edge of one of those stars, which of course you couldn't, you would see your twin blazing in the sky, larger than any sun you have ever known. Its light would dominate your horizon, flooding your world in colors you can't name. Gold that bleed into ultraviolet, crimson waves rolling across magnetic storms. Every moment a sunrise, every moment an ending. But beauty in the cosmos often comes at a cost, because as gravity binds, it also consumes. The closer these two suns draw, the more they distort each other's orbits. They shed fragments of gas and plasma, leaving behind luminous trails that spiral outward like ribbons in a slow motion whirlpool. Each revolution becomes a fraction faster, each pull a little stronger. They are caught in an embrace they can no longer escape. We sometimes imagine space as empty, a cold vacuum where nothing happens. But that's not true. Space is alive with invisible tremors. And when two massive bodies orbit each other, they send those tremors rippling outward, gravitational waves. They are faint. We can't feel them, but our instruments can. In 2015, the detectors at LIGO, vast tunnels of lasers and mirrors on Earth, recorded something extraordinary. A ripple moving through spacetime itself. It had traveled for more than a billion years, across galaxies, to reach us, the echo of two black holes colliding. That discovery changed everything. It meant Einstein's prediction from a century earlier was true, that spacetime isn't fixed but flexible, that when massive things move, they make the universe itself ring like a bell. And right now, somewhere in the endless dark, our two stars are ringing that bell. Every orbit, every shift in their gravitational dance sends waves through reality's fabric. Each pulse a note, deep and low, like the slow heartbeat of creation. If your senses could stretch wide enough, you'd hear the cosmos humming, the faint song of two suns in love and war. There's something achingly human in their story. Two beings drawn together, feeding off one another's energy, shaping and reshaping until neither can remember who they were alone. Is that not how gravity works in us too? The pull of another mind, another presence, invisible, inescapable, bending the course of your life. In the end, maybe gravity isn't just physics. Maybe it's the universe's oldest metaphor for longing. The smallest star, denser, hungrier, has begun to change. It's pulling harder now, stripping gas from its partner's surface, swallowing it in luminous streams. The stolen matter forms an accretion disk, spinning so fast it glows white hot. From that disk, jets of light shoot into the dark. Beams of radiation reaching across billions of kilometers. They cut through the void like lighthouses on an eternal sea. Astronomers have seen them, those beams, those X-ray flares, flickering from systems thousands of light years away. They tell us that this is happening not in imagination, but in reality. A cosmic feeding, a slow, patient consumption. And yet, it's not cruelty, it's balance. Because in the universe, nothing is truly lost. The matter stolen from one star becomes the part of the other. The energy released becomes light, and that light, that brief, furious glow, may one day drift across the void to strike a small blue planet and into the eyes of someone like you, wondering what it means. Over time, millions, billions of years, the orbit will decay further. The distance between them shrinks. The song of their gravity grows louder, until one day they are so close that even light itself trembles between them. They are no longer two separate fires now, but one shared inferno. Their atmospheres touch, their shapes distort, their magnetic fields twist and tear in violent knots. And though from afar it looks like a single point of brightness, inside that brilliance, chaos reigns. Matter churns, winds rage at 1,000,000 kilometers per hour, and time begins to slow. The closer you are to gravity, the slower time moves. It's a truth that Einstein gave us, and the stars obey it without question. So while to us their collision may appear as a moment, a flash in the night, for the stars themselves it will feel like eternity, a slow fall into each other's arms, a surrender that takes ages. You can almost imagine it, can't you? Two vast, radiant hearts, circling closer and closer, the darkness between them thinning until there is none left. It's the ultimate paradox. To collide is to end, and yet to create. To merge is to die, and yet to be reborn as something greater. And the universe, ever the patient observer, watches silently, waiting for the light that will come next. When they finally touch, it will not be quiet. It will be the most violent thing you can imagine. A cataclysm bright enough to outshine an entire galaxy. The birth of a kilonova, where two neutron stars, the densest objects in existence, smash together and forge new elements in their fire. Gold, platinum, uranium, the metals of our world, the atoms in your jewelry, in your veins, born in the death throes of stars. When two stars collide, they don't just end, they give us everything we are. You and I, our bones, our blood, our thoughts, are the quiet aftermath of such collisions. We carry within us the ashes of 1,000 dying suns, the dust of lovers that once burned across galaxies. Every heartbeat is an echo of their rhythm, every dream a ripple in their gravity. The universe doesn't just exist out there, it lives here, in the smallness of us, in the space between two people who reach for each other, in the light we pass on. And so, the pull continues, from atoms to galaxies, from stars to souls, because gravity never truly lets go. Chapter 3: The Spiral of Doom. It doesn't happen all at once. No explosion, no sudden catastrophe. Just a slow tightening, an invisible hand turning a cosmic wheel a little more each year. If you could watch from afar, centuries passing in seconds, you'd see the two stars spiraling inward, circles collapsing into spirals, spirals folding into a single point. Their orbit decays not because of choice or fault, but because of inevitability. They're losing energy, bleeding it out through the soft ripples of spacetime we call gravitational waves. Every orbit costs them something. Momentum fades, distance shortens, like dancers tiring at the end of a song. They draw closer with every turn, drawn by every force that once kept them apart. In a way, it's the universe's oldest paradox. The thing that sustains you will one day consume you. Stars live by gravity's grace, but gravity never forgets to collect its due. The space between them, once vast enough to swallow planets, begins to narrow. Streams of matter bridge the gap. Brilliant rivers of plasma flowing from one surface to the other, twisting through magnetic storms and arcs of radiation. They merge into a spiral, glowing brighter and brighter as energy builds to impossible levels. From a distance, the system looks like a single star flickering erratically, its light pulsing, changing color as if breathing. But up close, it is chaos. The vacuum trembles. Matter screams through the void at a fraction of light speed. Gravity distorts light itself, bending it into halos, wrapping their brilliance into an ever-tightening whirlpool of fire. The universe doesn't rush. But this is acceleration on a scale beyond comprehension. In the final moments before collision, the stars complete thousands of orbits each second, each rotation sending out waves that make spacetime quiver, tiny shivers that pass through galaxies, through black holes, through the very fabric of existence. If you could somehow stand near them, which you cannot, time itself would slow to syrup. Seconds would stretch into hours. Every flicker of light would linger, bending through the warped geometry of their shared gravity. What you would see just before the end is beauty so pure it almost hurts. A whirlpool of color, luminous and alive, brighter than a million suns. It would be the most glorious death imaginable. Astronomers have modeled this dance on computers. Simulations that compress billions of years into a few minutes. In those models, the stars twist and bend until their shapes blur, like two drops of liquid merging in slow motion. The moment before collision looks like a heartbeat, one last pulse of light swelling outward, and then silence. But silence in the cosmos doesn't mean absence. It means transformation. Because when those stars finally meet, their energies don't vanish, they fuse. Matter becomes energy, mass becomes motion, and the quiet dark around them bursts open with radiation, gamma rays, and shock waves of light traveling across the universe. We call that moment a kilonova, the final breath of two neutron stars colliding. For a few seconds, it shines brighter than an entire galaxy. Then slowly, it fades, leaving behind a remnant, a black hole, or sometimes something stranger. But let's not reach that moment yet. Let's stay here in the spiral because this is where the meaning hides. Not in the explosion, but in the approach. You see, the stars don't fear what's coming. They don't resist it. They don't bargain or run. They move as they always have, pulled by the laws that made them. Their collapse is not tragedy, it's obedience to the music of creation. And that's what makes it beautiful. Chapter 4, The Collision. It happens in silence. From across the universe, no sound escapes, only light, and even that lasts for an instant before space swallows it whole. But if you could be there just for a moment, if you could drift close enough to see what happens when two stars finally meet, it would be like witnessing the birth of a god. For billions of years, they circled each other, two hearts burning in the dark, two flames, learning the delicate balance between attraction and annihilation. Now, after an eternity of motion, the distance between them is gone. They touch, and the universe trembles. The surfaces of the stars, roiling seas of plasma, hotter than any fire we know, crash together with unimaginable force. Each atom, each particle slams into another at nearly the speed of light. Temperatures soar to billions of degrees. Magnetic fields twist and snap like whips of pure energy. Space itself bends inward, collapsing around the collision point. The light that bursts from this impact is blinding, brighter than a billion suns combined. For a few seconds, this single explosion will outshine entire galaxies. Every telescope turned toward that patch of sky will see it flare and then fade. But the light is only part of the story, because the real event, the one that shakes the fabric of reality, happens beneath the brightness. Deep inside, gravity is performing its masterpiece. At the heart of the merged star, matter is being crushed into something unrecognizable. Protons and electrons, the particles that make up all visible matter, fuse together under immense pressure to form neutrons. The entire core becomes a neutron sea, a sphere so dense that a spoonful would outweigh Mount Everest. This is what we call a neutron star. A corpse of light, dense beyond imagination, born from collapse. But in this moment, there are not one, but two. And their meeting, their collisions, releases energies beyond even supernovae. It's called a kilonova, a flash of brilliance that radiates gamma rays across the universe. For days, even weeks, it glows. And in its glow, the elements of creation are forged. Gold, platinum, rare isotopes that will one day drift across galaxies, fall into nebulae, and seed new worlds. If you're wearing a gold ring right now, pause for a moment. That metal was created here, in this instant, in the death of two stars. Your jewelry is older than Earth, older than our sun. It was once light, burned, buried, reborn. The kilonova swells, and space itself ripples outward. Gravitational waves, pure distortions of spacetimes, roll through the cosmos at the speed of light. They pass through galaxies, through nebulae, through you. You can't feel them, but they are there, stretching and squeezing the very distance between atoms. When we first detected such waves in 2017, the event called ZW 170817, astronomers realized they were witnessing exactly this. two neutron stars colliding, a real cosmic kiss that sent a vibration through the fabric of existence. That one event told us where heavy elements come from, how light behaves under pressure, and how spacetime itself sings when moved. Imagine that, our planet floating in darkness, catching the faint echo of two dead suns colliding 100 million light years away. It's like hearing a whisper from dawn of time. As the stars fuse, they form something new. For a brief moment, the merged core resists gravity's pull. It spins faster than anything in the universe, thousands of times per second. Its magnetic fields tearing through space like invisible blades. And then, finally, it can't hold. Gravity wins. The merged mass collapses inward, vanishing beneath its own weight, and in its place, a black hole is born. No light escapes it, no signal, no atom, no time, just a perfect void, the ultimate silence, the final stillness after the brightest song. But don't mistake the silence for emptiness, because the energy that has just been released, the light, the elements, the waves, will travel for billions of years, shaping the future of everything that exists. Some of that matter will drift for eons before joining a new cloud of dust. From that dust, new stars will form, new worlds will rise, new life will breathe. All because two ancient suns once chose to fall together. If you were to zoom out now, past the shockwave, past the glowing debris, past the ripples in spacetime, you'd see that this explosion, this singular moment of unimaginable destruction, is but a flicker in the cosmic sea. As the kilonova fades, its light spreads through the darkness, a soft afterglow, drifting endlessly outward, long after the explosion has ended. That light continues to travel. It will pass other stars, other worlds, and someday it might pass you. When it does, you won't notice it. It will be faint, invisible, lost among the noise of existence. But it will still be there, a message from two stars that once collided, whispering across eternity. We were here, we burned, we became one. And that's what makes the universe beautiful. Not just the light that shines, but the stories carried within it. Every photon, every particle of gold, every atom in your body was once part of something vast and luminous, something that ended so that you could begin. The stars do not die for nothing. They die to become you. Chapter 5. What survives? For a while, there is only silence. The brilliance fades. The light, once fierce enough to rival galaxies, begins to dim, dissolving into the dark fabric of space. The debris expand outward, glowing faintly like embers at the edge of a dying fire. What remains of those two suns now floats as dust, gold, platinum, uranium, drifting through the cosmos like shimmering ash, tiny fragments of eternity, carried by the breath of the universe. At the center, where once there were two hearts of light, now lies a shadow, a black hole, small, perfect, and infinitely patient. It devours what's near, then rests in stillness. Around it, a faint halo of matter glows, the last memory of what once burned here. The collision is over, but its consequences have only just begun. The expanding cloud of debris, heavy with elements forged in that brief violent moment, will wander for eons. Gravity will scatter it across interstellar space, mixing it with ancient hydrogen and helium. Slowly, invisibly, the dust will begin to cool. Atoms will bond with other atoms, forming molecules: carbon, oxygen, iron, the raw ingredients of worlds. And maybe, millions of years later, that dust will be drawn into a new nebula, a cradle of stars. And from that cradle, a new sun will ignite, one carrying within it the ashes of those that came before. It's humbling to realize that even the grandest violence in the universe gives rise to something gentle. The same explosion that forged gold also created light soft enough to lull you to sleep. The same collapse that birthed a black hole also made the atoms that let your heart beat. Destruction and tenderness forever intertwined. That is the music of creation. When you understand that, the universe stops feeling distant. It feels alive, familiar, almost human. As the debris of the two stars drift farther into the dark, its light grows faint, barely visible, even to the most sensitive eyes. And yet, it continues to travel. Each photon, each atom, a small message carried across eternity. A message that says, we endured, we became something else, we are still here. And somewhere, perhaps on a quiet night, on a small blue planet, someone looks up at the stars and feels it. That strange warmth in the chest, that wordless awe. They might not know why, but it's the echo of that message, a recognition written into your very atoms. You are part of what survives. Chapter 6: The Cosmic Meaning. It's strange, isn't it? that something so vast, so far beyond us, can feel so intimate. When two stars collide, the event unfolds light years away, across scales of time and space we can barely comprehend. And yet, somehow, it feels familiar. Every human life is, in a way, a small version of that cosmic dance. We circle each other, drawn together by invisible forces: love, curiosity, fear, gravity of the heart. We exchange energy, shape each other, and sometimes we collide. Not in flame and radiation, but in change. In the quiet collision of ideas, memories, and souls. And from those moments, from the pain, the closeness, the loss, something new is born. A new understanding, a deeper compassion, a kind of light that didn't exist before. When two stars collide, they create the heavy elements that make planets and people possible. Without their destruction, there would be no earth, no oceans, no music, no language, no dreams. Even the words you are hearing now, the neurons firing in your brain, the electrical dance of thought, are powered by the remnants of ancient stellar collisions. Every human emotion is an echo of a cosmic event, a sadness that feels infinite, a love that feels eternal. They are not whispers, they are mirrors. It makes you wonder, if the universe is capable of so much beauty in its most violent moments, then what might we be capable of in ours? Maybe pain isn't something to fear. Maybe it's the beginning of transformation, the point where energy becomes light again. Stars die, but in their death, they give us gold and warmth and life. So, when something in you collapses, a dream, a love, a part of yourself, maybe it's not the end. Maybe it's the start of something unimaginable. Because if the universe can rise from its own ashes, so can you. When you think of those two stars, their final embrace, their explosion, their transformation, don't think of destruction. Think of persistence. Think of love in its rawest, most physical form. Because that's what gravity is: the universe's instinct to hold on, to draw near, to keep everything from falling apart completely. And maybe, just maybe, we inherited that instinct. Look at how we reach for one another, how we keep creating even after loss, how we tell stories, make art, search for truth. We are the cosmos continuing its oldest habit, trying to understand itself through connection. So, when you stand beneath the night sky and feel that strange ache, That quiet pull that makes you look up and wonder. You are feeling what every atom in existence feels, the desire to return home. And maybe home isn't a place at all. Maybe it's the moment when two stars finally meet, when two lives intertwine, when light finds its way back to light.